you don't have a say in what happens and what direction it goes. The board as a collective has a say. And the other piece about this is a lot of people want to go full time with their nonprofits. So that means you need to become a salaried person, like a staff person. Well, you don't set your own salary. You don't appoint yourself. Your board does that.
Over 50% of Black Americans are unmarried, and only 2% of Black families in America have a net worth over $1 million.
We are on our journey to not only join that 2%, but grow that 2%.
Facts. I'm Devon Travell, creator of Black Wall Street, the board game, with my beautiful co-host.
I'm Sinclair, aka the Health Nerd. You can go to our website at them4show.com, our Instagram at them4show, and our YouTube channel at Melanated Married Millionaires in the Making.
And welcome to the M4 Show.
So I would think about a couple things. The first thing is, like, what is the purpose of it all? And what is your bottom line? So if your bottom line is just profit and you're just trying to make money, then I would seriously reconsider whether or not you want to be a nonprofit, because all of the hassle and the administrative burden you have to go through just to be as a nonprofit it's a lot. So if your main focus is like, I'm just trying to make money, I would think about it. If your purpose is more mission focused, right? Like if it's more you want to help or get to a certain good outcome in your community, then you probably will lean more toward a nonprofit. There are other considerations, but I would absolutely start there. I would think about, like, what is the reason I'm doing this? What is my why? And if all of your decisions come down to whether it's good for the mission and not whether it's good for profit, then that's pretty much a sign that it's going to lean towards nonprofit. Because when you're a for-profit, the bottom line is this going to make me more money?
Mm-hmm.
And you can't, that's not a question. That's not really an appropriate question to ask first when you're a nonprofit. Like, money matters, but it's not necessarily the first question you ask. Your first question is, does this help me reach my mission? Is this helping me reach my charitable purpose?
Look, we're going to get right back into the amazing podcast. But if you didn't know, in 2017, we created Black Wall Street, the board game, because we thought more families needed to know about the history of Tulsa Black Wall Street. More families needed to know about the legacy of Black excellence left behind of Tulsa Black Wall Street, that we can own a Madam C.J. Walker Beauty Salon. We can have a Booker T. Washington High School. We can have an Uncle Steve's Barbecue. We can have a Renaissance man like Simon Berry, who had his own taxi service and bus service that got bought out by the city of Tulsa. We have brilliance in our DNA. We wanted to make sure that your family can play a game that teaches them about this brilliance. So we have Black Wall Street, the board game, right here. We had the first edition available in 2017. That got sold out. We're on the second edition right now, or you can get the beautiful masterpiece version of the game as well. It's up to you. Head to playblackwallstreet.com and get yourself Black Wall Street, the board game, to empower you, your family, and generations to come. Playblackwallstreet.com. Let's get back to the episode.
But I think another big one that people just don't understand about nonprofits is that the whole thing around ownership. A lot of people think when they have a nonprofit, it's their nonprofit. They'll say, oh, my nonprofit does this, or I own a nonprofit. And you do not own a nonprofit. A nonprofit is a public organization, right? So if you're going to do direct services in the community, you're typically what's called a public charity, and nobody owns that. And the people who make decisions for that nonprofit, the people who have oversight over that nonprofit, are the current board of directors. And if you're the founder of the nonprofit and you're not on the board of directors, you don't have any say, technically, legally, in the direction of the nonprofit. So you could have started a nonprofit, and then, 5 years later, you're no longer on the board, you're not associated with it, you're not working for the nonprofit. You don't have a say in what happens, in what direction it goes. The board as a collective has a say. And the other piece about this is a lot of people want to go full time with their nonprofits. So that means you need to become a salaried person, like a staff person. Well, you don't set your own salary. You don't appoint yourself. Your board does that. So you're relinquishing, I can't say that word, y'all. But you know what I mean. You're giving up power to a group of people. And when people hear that, they get really nervous.
Right.
Yeah. Like, oh, this is my baby. Like, this is my thing. So I'm not going to just let somebody come in and take it. But, that's how it's set up and people don't understand it. So, I mean, you'll hear stories in the news about founders who no longer are associated with their nonprofit, or they're kicked out or fired. And that's just what it is. So I would think seriously about ownership, especially if you're creating products. Okay. If you want to talk about wealth and ownership, like if your nonprofit owns a product or owns your intellectual property, it's not yours. So I would think about that too. Right. I don't think people should only have nonprofits. I know I'm kind of like pivoting to something else, but I just have to say this because I know you guys talk about wealth too. But you need to think about like having something as your own in addition to your nonprofit. So I just want to throw that out there.
I like that. Thank you for supporting the M4 show and our mission to increase the wealth of Black families.
If you received any value from this episode, any value at all, any, do us a favor and give us a like and subscribe on YouTube and Apple, Spotify, anything, all of them, all of them, wherever you're listening, go ahead and like and subscribe.
And after you like and subscribe, make sure you send this episode to at least one family that you really want to see win. We'll catch y'all next time. Peace.